Okay. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another week of RUPL recaps and predicts. This time for finals tiebreaks. So, spoiler alert: finals happened for RUPL, and we ended 4-4, which means we're going into very exciting tiebreaks. But yeah, today I have joined with me uh, some co-commentators. Obviously, I am Ming549 on Smogon, this guy 12321 on PS, whatever. Hi, you know who I am. You also know who Gum is at this point. So Gum, if you want to just say what's up again very quickly.
Hi, it's gone.
Yeah. And then also we have Kush who has been here before. Kush, you missed the intros the last time, so now
I
you get
did
to
miss the answers
properly
last time.
introduce yourself
I'm
this time.
I'm Kush. I'm on the Crunchwrap Supreme Overlords,
Yeah. And then finally
and
we
I'm
have
playing
LPN.
SP.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah. So yeah, that is the commentating crew for this week. And with that being said, let's kind of just jump right into it. So recaps and predicts both kind of on the same screen here. But yeah, let's talk about recaps. All three of y'all are kind of affiliated with kind of one of these teams, Gum with the Guardians, and then Kush and LBN with the Crunch Wraps. So yeah, just kind of talk about how the week went. I mean, what did you think going into it? Did it plan out? Did it pan out kind of how you thought it would? And yeah, kind of what's the mentality going into tiebreaks, I guess.
Who's gonna go first?
Sure. Do we want to talk about my game first, or did you already commentate on that with you?
I'll take a look. Let me take a look at the games real quick, because truth be told, I only remember a couple of them.
Yeah, I personally only, well, I watched basically all of these live with the exception of, uh, I think Piyush versus Ninja Dog. I didn't actually get to catch that. Um, but otherwise, I saw all of these games. And they were pretty good across the board. If you want to just,
I know
yeah, I
the
mean,
games
just
I caught live were Black and White, Oras, SM, and Lily's SV,
yeah,
and
that was a
Minty.
crazy game. That was a crazy
Oh,
game, Lily versus
the
Ishii.
Lily one angered me for multiple reasons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But I'll get to that game in chronological.
that one went south real
yeah. You
fast
know
as
what?
soon as the
Actually,
voting were up.
yeah, let's kind of just do this in the order that it happened. I think.
Yeah,
That could be like a
or
fair
just
thing.
the order listed works.
Yeah.
Actually, let's do how it happened first. Attributes game first.
Yeah, I can talk about this. So attribute versus fogbound. If I remember correctly, we predicted last week that attribute would take this. And he did. So good on us for that. Was a very, I thought it was a very good sword shield game. A lot of sword shield is a lot of the game was really slow. Just kind of attribute with his Reuniclus setting up, getting kind of quote unquote forced out by an Umbreon, and then repeating the process over and over again. Eventually, the Reuniclus actually did manage to break through the Umbreon because it was Grass Knot and Shadow Ball Reuniclus. So that was funny. Um, and yeah, it kind of muscled through Fogbound's team at the end and kind of attribute came out with the W. Uh, Gum, what is up with Psychic Stablis Reuniclus? Like, is that something that you have been planning on bringing, or what was it, like a spur of the moment decision? Like
No,
you
just
don't
like
really, yeah,
I don't know, just like an attribute set. Like he used it a lot last RUPL, and he just like didn't know like this time around, and so I decided to like use it this once because it's really good into the sort of teams that Fogbound uses. So it was kind of like the idea behind it.
yeah, and it worked out
See,
perfectly. I mean, it was put in mad work. Only reason attribute came out of that game was because the Reuniclus could 1v1 the Umbreon. So, yeah, very funny game.
Reuniclus Turbo Walled by Guzzlord is certainly an interesting choice, but there's
Well,
a
I mean, the
reason,
Reuniclus
so
was
I
turbo
suppose
walled by
it's fine.
Guzzlord anyway. Like it's Calm Mind. So unless you're running exactly Focus Blast,
You,
which
you just run focus defense. or knock, or
I mean,
toxic.
actually win.
There's a
You
lot of
win with
things
grass knot.
can run.
Like
There's no way
it
Grass
don't
Knot
really need
Reuniclus
Pokebuster.
beats Gauze. Really?
Actually, no, it does, yeah. Unless it's like Dragon Tail, but like even Dragon Tail, like winning like the 1v1 late game. Because
How much
like
is
because it's like
how much is
super
Dump Up
heavy.
doing?
It does like 35, probably, 40. Realistically, Guzzlord does not lose 1v1 unless it's like knock, EQ, toxic, protect, or
Well,
something.
I'm
But
just
even
trying to
then,
think about a
I mean,
situation where
you
Gauze could
beat
have.
yeah,
you beat like all of you beat non-detail starts and like even like against detail you win in the
If
1v1
it's like
scenario
last
like
mon
late
Reuniclus.
game. But like only like
Yeah.
two, yeah. It's
I'll
only
be
better because like
honest,
Nog doesn't do
I
enough.
don't really feel like it actually does, unless it's like the most potato Guzzlord of all time.
Well, a lot of Guzzlord don't run
Hmm,
attack. So if
Attribute
we're
has
talking
played a
about
lot
like
They
too.
non-hit
really
attack,
should. They really should. Like, I'm
I mean,
looking
it's
at the
just
damage right now. +6 Grass Knot does 43, which maybe, but 0 attack Guzzlord is just so bad. Why do people use that set?
well, I mean, they use it to
So,
maximize its defenses, right? When you have such a high HP, you want, and
I mean,
Guzzlord
yeah,
doesn't really
but
have great
you can
base
generally
defenses. So
generally
it's
you
like,
dump a lot into Split Death. You can dump some into speed for like Registeel if you're
yeah,
cocky enough using. And then you can just dump a lot into attack. You don't need Fizz Def that much. I mean, it's not bad. But like realistically, you should at least pump some attack in. Some. Because 28 to Reuniclus is not acceptable damage. Why does it do like on average 31.5? This is
yeah,
gross.
yeah,
This
that's
is why we
Reuniclus
run
for you.
Adam. This is
That's
why we
Reuniclus
run
for you.
Adam.
That's also
This
why
is
a
why
lot
we
of
run
people
Adam.
have put Reuniclus in their A+/S tier in their Sword Shield rankings, which we've seen a lot of lately. So we'll see if that turns into
Honestly,
anything in the future. Sun, Moon, and
people just need
Morass are
to use
starting some
good
PR threads too.
buzzwords.
But
I'm actually mad. Why do people run that? That's so
yeah.
bad.
Anyway, Attribute, very impressive gaming. Came through with that Reuniclus set. And yeah,
I do
led the
want to
week's.
say a couple things on Fog's team. Screech Seismitoad is crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's that. Well, it didn't work out, but it almost did. Um,
Screech
I think
Seismitoad and Sideshift Sigilif in 2024 is quite
I
nice.
think I think
Honestly,
Fogbound didn't share a single team to us before he went in.
really.
yeah, I'm gonna say that because I'll be honest, I steal a lot of teams. I would have stolen a Screech Seismitoad immediately, but yeah, I don't think he shared this.
Hmm.
Generally,
Well,
he's been winning most of the tours, so I think they've just been letting it rock.
yeah, I think. I mean, you can correct
And
me if
to
this is
be
wrong, but I think that's kind of just how Fogbound has approached a lot of kind of these subforum tours. Um, kind of on his own, or like kind of doing whatever. I don't know if you can like say if that's an accurate statement or not, but just kind of
I
from what I've heard
think
about his reputation,
fairly
it sounds like
fairly accurate.
yeah,
It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's true.
okay, yeah. I mean
I will say
that's what I've heard about him, but yeah,
the matchup wasn't great, honestly, for Fogbound. Side shift Sigilif into Rest Talk Guzzlord is very rough. And Heel Bell Tricktogue into Raikou Registeel isn't great either. It was doable, but I'd say this is probably a comfortably bad matchup for Fogbound.
I mean actually I don't know if I'd agree with that. I feel like Fogbound had a lot of defensive tools to just stop attribute stuff. Like for if Umbreon managed to kind of just stonewall the Reuniclus, if it didn't like get stalled out of foul plays or whatever, which didn't end up happening. But like Fogland had a lot of defensive answers to basically everything Attribute was throwing out, and it really did kind of just fall on Reuniclus to do all of the heavy lifting there. But it did. So yeah, such a Sword Shield.
I think the game could have been done a bit differently if he I'd say Attribute can fairly comfortably burn a lot of heal bells or 4 seal bells with Registeel,
Yeah.
Jiwi's, the Discharge Raikou, Toxic
Yeah.
Guzzlord, and basically poison Togekiss whenever it wants, which is its own good thing.
Yeah, it's just not dying to this kind of team.
Yeah, like Guzzlord,
It's
realistically, you play it
staying
right, it
around
will
forever and burning
Yeah.
through heal bells. This kind of game just makes me so glad that all the recovery moves were nerfed to ATP this gen.
This game just makes me glad that Reuniclus didn't get banned. That mon is not broken. I'm sorry.
That mon is not broken?
I do not think it's broken at all.
That mon beat y'all.
I have used Reuniclus extensively. It is not busted like that. We have enough sauce in the bin to get rid of this mon consistently. It's good. It's like top 3 minimum, but I wouldn't ban it.
Okay, that's interesting. But yeah, I mean, that was Attribute versus Fogbound, which was followed, I think, by Frank Josh Avarice. I'm pretty sure that was followed by Frank Josh Avarice. That was also quite an interesting game. I think Avarice brought like just straight HO into Frank Josh with maybe a somewhat more traditionally fat build. Um, I can't even call it fat, right? Because he had like a
I wouldn't call it
Calm Mind
fat. It's just
Raikou.
it's bulky offense with a Gastrodon slapped on there for funsies.
Yeah,
Avarice brought the most dishonest HO of all time, but I'm not even gonna pretend like Armarouge getting crit didn't suck.
I think that was actually actively better for you that Armor Rouge died that turn.
I don't particularly
Honestly,
agree.
I don't think it mattered.
If there
I
was
don't think it
chip
mattered at that
damage,
point.
it would have been very nice.
Because the way I see
It
it
could have
is all that it did, because Armor Rouge was still getting 2-hit KO'd on the turn after, and it was not KOing the Raikou back. So while
it
Raikou
wasn't
would have
just
been a bit more chipped, what that would have meant is you have Mousehold coming in without a light screen up, which means you can't really set up as easily.
I mean
You ended up
Terra
being
Ground.
Terra Ground, but
I will note this Raikou ended the game at 3%. The Raikou would have been dead.
I mean, the thing is, like, yeah, but it's like, even like, if it was going to be that, it's like, the most it did was do like a lot of damage to Thunderous. And at that point, the issue was you lose to Thunderous anyway, because you lose to Flygon anyway, because you have first impression, and Thunderous isn't immune to it. I mean, like, you can't have him Terra because you've already Terra'd the mice. And at that
The
point, the game was
primary
pretty much
mistake
over. It didn't. I mean,
Continue.
the game was over anyway at that point. Like,
I'd
I
yeah.
say
guess
the game ended
the
when
crit
they
did.
tidied up the second time. If they just Terra Blasted Cabalion twice
Yeah, that was an
instead of
interesting
getting
play.
the
I remember during
3+2.
the live comms, which I don't know if those will actually be going up. I don't think they
If he
will. I
did,
think we're only putting up
if
one right
Avarice did that,
now. But
But
he
I
could
do
have
get
had
it
Mice
because I
be
don't
much
think he.
healthier, which could have
I
let
don't think it
something
because
happen.
like
But
right,
it being
but
in first impression
physical
range,
defensive.
which is its own unfortunate thing.
Because
First
I mean,
impression
anyway,
of
we're like
HO is always kind of.
the bug. So with I won't reveal the item, but I think we killed it anyway.
no,
And
I
also,
imagine
I
again.
think the
I don't
like I
think
don't.
that crit was unfortunate, but I really don't think it mattered as much in the grand scheme as you're making it out to be. Especially mostly
Yeah, I
because
think
it's the
the
light screen thing. Like, because that Raikou was at what +2 at that point. So had you just scalded into Mousehold,
yeah,
if you
exactly.
Terra grounded, so I mean then you're just dead for sure. And it's like as long
See,
as you get
At the
damage on
same
the
time,
Mousehold,
because
you put him in first impression range. Like I don't know. It's a different game afterwards. It's a different
see,
game. But
when I see the Raikou at 3% and it would have been chipped more, I realize that wait, Mousehold is faster than their entire team, besides first impression, which
No,
that's just
it's not.
asking.
It's not faster than Raycon.
Yes, but what I'm saying is Raikou would be dead if Armor Rouge got any hit on it. It ended the game at
but
3%.
how? Okay, but it
Well,
ended the game
we
out
got
like
we got
it
a
ended the
crit
game
as
at
well.
3% after the
Yes,
mice
we did
died.
get a crit, but that's
yeah, it
like
only
not
would
my
have
point.
mattered if the knock crit also happened,
Like
which was
Well, yes. Again, this is a hypothetical situation, but if they didn't crit, the Raikou would be dead, and then Mouse outspeeds the entire team, assuming no Scarfgar. If it's
But
Scarfgar,
that's
then
the
Yeah,
the
this
game
is
was
some
over
crazy
on
cope.
three.
LBN, I'm going to be honest. This is some crazy cope we're hearing right here. Like,
It's
you're
like this
saying,
is
okay,
true.
it doesn't make sense because the thing is when Raikou ended the game at 3%, Mice was already dead. It wasn't going to win anyway. And also like Ming said, light screen ended. It's like the moment light screen ends with +2 Raikou, you just lose on the spot. Like you can't even do anything about it. Wait Terra Blast Ice. We just tear that against Mice, we kill, and it's over. If anything, it like hindered us because like we won faster without a crit. Because you just like cannot do anything about Raikou at +2, but no light with no light screen up. I think it is scoping, like as hell.
Honestly, if I went into Mousehold on a Raikou, I would not be calling Terra Ground out, and I'm not sure Frank Josh would either.
But the thing is,
I
like, you
mean,
don't lose
personally, I was
anything
just
because
looking,
you
I'm
beat
just looking at it
Terra.
as like a neutral hit. Because all you need to
Like
do is just get a neutral
realistically,
hit. Well, I
Yeah,
was thinking Aura Sphere
like you don't.
technically, but I guess
the
Scald
the
worked
true
too. It doesn't matter.
the true fact of the game
Nah, you
is
you
that
don't.
I would deserve to lose for tidying up twice. That's the truth of the matter. But I'm not going to pretend like it wouldn't be a bit of a different game if Armor Rouge didn't get crit.
Yeah, honestly, the tidy up twice
Honestly,
is
The
the
thing is, like,
thing
it
I would
wouldn't.
point to mostly as like the
Yeah,
odd play. Because it's like you tidy up on, what was it, Cobalion? Yeah, Cobalion hard switched in. You had like a tidy up, I believe.
yeah,
And
you
then they
already
went
did.
for a second tidy up instead of the T Blast ground, which I thought was weird. Um,
If they
but I don't
T-blasted
really
the
blame
first
him
time, I don't
because I
fully
think
blame
he
them,
just like yeah,
but
because I don't think the set has like smog like the calc has like a lot of bulk. So I think he just like assumed he could like get up to +2 and just what I KO.
mm,
see, and that's another thing. It really was just not the right play. I'm looking at the calc right now, and like Cobalion never dies in one ever, unless it's like bulkless, which I wouldn't be banking on bulkless Cobalion, especially not on a team like this.
eh, whatever. I mean,
But
it's like an in-game call, right? Hindsight's always 2020, so I don't necessarily blame them for going for the second tidy up, but it was kind of interesting to see that just kind of real time. I would have been interested to see what kind of Avarice had to say about this, but uh, yeah,
I'm
I
just
don't
gonna
know.
But
summarize.
even then,
I'm
I
just
don't think
gonna
it was
summarize the game.
major.
We load psychic terrain. It's prepared for the one dangerous electric mon that we fought off, Thunderous. He loads
Oh,
Raikou. We get fucked by Raikou. That's the game.
yeah, pretty much.
Okay, let's move on to the next
I'm
one.
not gonna pretend like
interesting.
Avarice
Yeah,
didn't
but I
deserve to
mean, the
lose
next
this
one is
game.
interesting too because now at this point the standings were Guardians up 2-0, and then Crunchfast make a run back with I think Yay.
I
Was
think it
that
was
the next
3 in a
game,
row.
or
I
was it
think we
best of
won
three?
3 in a row.
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't. I'm pretty sure it was uh Bunny, and then I think it
No,
was
I'm
Piyu,
looking
and
at
then
it
it
right
was
now. Mincemeat won,
Ombre.
then Ninja Dog won, and then Kushalos won.
Right.
Yeah,
Um, I definitely thought Yay was in there somewhere. Maybe the memory might be messed up.
Yeah,
I
Yay
don't know
he
who
was
had
was,
game
really.
second
weekend.
last game.
Word. Okay. So yeah, I mean, Mansmeet versus
Gonzo
Punny. I
won.
mean, that was that was a
Gonzo
big
beat
game that we
that.
were talking about last week during predicts. Um, I forget I think we gave it to Punny, but Mansmeet came out to play. The team down 0-2, very big W. Um, I don't actually remember a ton about that game. Did they?
One moment, I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah, he won in two. He won in two. But yeah, Kush, what was it? What was it kind of like prepping men's meet going into this week versus Punny?
I posted a couple teams in my own chat. Mensmeet asks, "Hey, that looks dope. Can I use it?" Sure, go ahead. That was the prep.
Okay, nice. Did he use the HO? Is that what he brought this week? I don't remember.
No, he brought a sand with the punching glove Conkelder.
Yeah, right. His Iron Fist punching glove. Right.
Yeah, it's cool. I
No, that
I
was
I got
fun.
some hate from it from HJK, but the results don't lie.
Yeah, I mean that was funny because I remember talking about this live too, and it ended up being like, okay, what is this Kong's item? We've seen that y'all have kind of trended a little bit towards kind of the leftover spatter Kong, but then we saw no lefties, and it was like, oh, what is this? And then I think at some point there was some contact effect that like didn't happen or whatever, and we were like, okay, it's probably punching glove. Um, but yeah, very cool stuff.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Is there any like insight you want to give us for as for like funny side of things, prep wise or gaming wise?
No, he just like reused a team that he used, I think, week 2 against Star
Mm-hmm.
and SV. And then SM, he just said he wanted to use Whimsicott, so he went with that.
Just Whimsicott's such a funny pick in SM. Probably good too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh
Again,
right.
I don't.
The one thing I really didn't agree with how Mens plays the SV game, by the way, because he had the Conkeldurr in, it was killing everything.
I need
yeah,
to.
yeah. He terras the Conkeldurr into electric on the capitals, then the capitals dies,
I'll
and
be honest.
then when the Cyclizar gets sent in, he doesn't drain punch for some reason. I thought that was pretty odd.
Yeah, I
Sure,
thought that
but
was a weird turn.
by that
was a weird
point, Conkeldurr already claimed 3 Pokemon on its own, practically.
Yeah. So all Mansmeet had to do was healing wish the Kong back up for more carnage. And then
Like,
he
Ice Punch
just
wasn't the greatest play, but honestly, I don't think it changed a ton.
it did, because it would have gotten some health back, so it could live a Draco.
I mean, it's not like Cyclizar.
And then he goes to the the Noivern switch is what bugs me the most. Like, he was so tunnel visioned on the Lily set that he just went Draco on the most obvious Terra Fairy mule of all time.
I mean, I don't think he had much of a choice. In worst case,
No. He had so many choices. He could have stayed in with Hippo for all I care, but what he should have done was gone Gardevoir, just I don't know, trick, whatever. If he's not knocked yet, and just Healing Wish.
I don't think there's something though, because we used Nasipod Mew in semifinals and with third round, so I think maybe Mans just assumed it was like third round again.
Yeah, that's what I said. He was tunnel visioned into the Lily set.
Yeah.
the Conk did actually go crazy, though. That much I
It
can
did
say.
go crazy. And that's all that matters at the end of the day, you know? Like, fuck HJK. He was just hating on my set because he thought it was inferior to the gut set.
Now that's crazy.
Which is not true. Which is not true because
I didn't catch him doing that. Otherwise, I would have grilled him for that too. Iron Fist Conk is nutty.
Yeah, I mean we've seen a lot of kind of the non-flame orb Kongs, specifically out of your teams, or the Crunchwraps, just with leftovers Kong, default Kong. So fun stuff.
I bought it. I brought it the first time with the Snorlax team, and then everyone on the team was like, "What? I had no idea Conkeldurr got default."
Yeah. That game was a robbery. That was That was week 2 versus us, the Iron Fisters. That was
that was a robbery, but who cares? This is
Pokemon. It was a robbery, but he C-bombed the Rhyperior with Snorlax, so all I'm saying is it was
robbery AF. But yeah, anyway, so that was game 2. Or I'm sorry, that was game 4, and at that point the series is tied up. And then I think you said the Piyush Ninja Dog game that came up next?
Yes, Ninja Dog went next.
I do not remember how this game panned out. This was the one game I actually just did not see like at all this week.
This is a Samurai game.
Oh, okay.
Let's see what happened here. Because I didn't catch this either.
Yeah, I don't know. Blacklight gaming in general for me is a little confusing.
Turn 9, Magneton Spadef drop into Magneton crits the Golurk, dead Golurk. I love black and white. Okay, Fire Blast killing the Magneton is actually kind of insane.
All the fucking SD Sceptiles, I'm really done with that. You know, in the past, they all used to be the Life Orb special sets used to be a lot more popular, and then nowadays everyone is only running SD, I feel.
This one was sub SD though, which is a bit different. And I kind of mess with it. Sub SD Sceptile's cool.
Oh, wait, no, I do remember this game. This game could have very easily gone Piyush's way too, right? Because I think it was the lead Sceptile versus a Quillfish. He set up a Swords Dance, and then he subbed. But I don't remember exactly how it went, but it was like on turn 3. If he had subbed a second time, I think he just won the game. But he didn't do that, and then so the game panned out, and then he lost. But it was something crazy like that.
I do actually like Fuchsia's team. Absol, Goler, Drapion, Double Dark. It's pretty cool. I think this team is obscenely weak to Moltres. Like, Moltres actually just flanks this really hard.
I mean, you can say that about a lot of teams. There's
no
team.
No,
there's no
that's
real.
not true.
There's no real team in Black White that doesn't have some sort of like. Because Moltres can just like confuse you or like crit you, and then
I don't think this team is that weak to Moltres. You can say, oh, there's no fire resist, but
I mean,
he has a Goler to lead against it, probably a Stone Edge. He can sucker it with Absol. The Yuxi is sub CM with Thunderbolt. That's obviously faster.
Yeah. It's not the worst matchup in the world, but it basically gets a kill as long as it comes in.
Okay, listen, here's the thing. You don't. This is Black White. There's nothing in the tier that really wants to come in onto Moltres. Like, nothing in the tier that really wants to be switching into that combination of like fire, flying, and like a hidden power. Like, it's tough.
See, that much I agree, but usually teams can dance around it with like Rhydon into Durant or something to switch in on the HP grass. This, it just clicks Flamethrower and something dies.
Okay, well, I mean, again, like Kush was saying, right? I mean, you have your anti-lead, you have potential revenge killing options, you have faster mons who can set up on it. Like it's not bad.
It's not the worst thing in the world, but it does get a kill on entry, basically, as long as it's in front of the Goler probably dies. I think it takes like 70.
Okay, well, Goler's not coming in onto like hurricanes or like a hurricane and a flamethrower. Like,
yeah, but I don't know. The set that I always run is designed to just live a flamethrower or a hurricane, and then get into gust step range.
Yeah.
I think that is the most common set right now. Just gust step.
I
don't think it's gust step on this. I'd honestly, I think it might be Rindoberry. The opposing Sceptile matchup isn't exactly a great one, Absol aside.
I don't know, you can ask Gum.
It was gust step.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's gust step. It's super obviously gust step.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Rindo. But Custap is easily my favorite one. I love Custap Berry.
Sure.
But I do like both teams. The Samurott is a very fun bring.
Yeah, it's a classic Core 49 team. It's pretty well known. It works though.
I haven't actually seen it before because people are too busy.
It also works a lot better since he removed Focus Blast from the Droligan, because that shit was not hitting.
Oh, Focus Blast Droligan! Oh my god. I cringe just hearing that. Like, I don't.
Wait till you hear about Draco Meteor Druddigon.
Listen. Draco's fine, but it's like, who do you care about enough to be focus blasting, bro? Just hit it with the flamethrower.
It was because at the time people were actually running Rhydon, and now no one does.
Okay.
No one runs Rhydon.
Maybe Miltank?
Nah. Your dragon moves.
I'm trying to find use in something useless, alright?
It's just a move that hits Steelix and Rhydon in one stop on the special side. I still think it's stupid because you're gonna miss that shit all the time. But that was the reasoning behind it at the time.
On a mon who can run as many moves as Druddigon, why would you dedicate one of those to Focus Blast, bro? I mean, that's okay. It's okay. I understand it. It's a high base power move.
Ferdinand was in his lucky era when he was making this team.
Okay, good for him. Me personally, you never catch me running Focus Blast like that.
No, me neither.
But yeah. I mean, that was Ninja Dog Biyush, which was followed then by Yay. Was that the Yay game? Or did Gondra play next? No, it was Gondra. It was
No,
Gondra.
I played next.
Yeah, Kush played next and then Gondra.
Wait, I thought we already
Yeah,
talked
and
about
then it
Kush.
was.
Oh, maybe not. All right, Kush.
No, we didn't.
I couldn't get you for the post com on this game, Kush, but now no more dodging. Turn
No.
two. Turn two.
Fuck off.
Explain yourself.
Shut up. I was like, he's paralyzed. He's probably gonna click body slam, but like, who body slam barriers through a para, you know? And then it clicks Thunderwave. I haven't seen Thunderwave in a hot minute.
And then you're sad because your Breloom, which otherwise would have won the goddamn game,
Yeah,
is
I know.
functionally dead.
I know. I know.
I was.
I just
I was.
didn't want. I just didn't want him to U-turn into the bull because
That is
I didn't
true.
know what the bull was gonna do. I've never seen a bull, you know.
Yeah, Tauros
He's so
was. Tauros
menacing.
was actually quite scary. Had it gotten like well, you needed to make reads with it, but it had a move to hit basically everything on your team for huge damage, like Raging Bull for the
Yeah.
Uniclus, close
I
combat for
mean,
the Empo, etc., etc.
it wasn't even that scary if I knew the item beforehand. It's just I was scared of like some sub bulk up shenanigans set.
Yeah, I mean, Gom, what was kind of the motivation for Umbri to bring the Bull? Was that like a her decision? Did she really feel like that was a good matchup in Kush's load, or kind of trying to outcook the chef? Like what was the kind of the motivation
I feel like they just
I think she
needed
just.
an offensive mon that was able to switch into Bishop and Crook. That's how
Yeah,
I
but
feel
also for
about
it to just like this sort of help, and also I think there was like just I think it just kind of looked good into Kush's camp or something, and she played some games with it and it was good. So like she was confident with the team.
Cool.
I think the
Also,
idea was
Flygon,
just using
a Flygon
Flygon.
too, which was you don't really see Flygons too often.
I
I
think
did think
Flygon's great.
Flygon was a cool bring, yeah. Especially lefties. Like that's very hard to kill with Hippo teams.
Yeah, exactly.
I just
I don't
don't
remember
agree
if
with
he.
the coverage, dude. Like Stone Edge Earthquake, U-turn. I don't
I
know.
think that's the best set, honestly, because like you can run Stoner for like Moltres. I don't think you've brought Moltres much. It would have been like acceptable with like Dragon Stab, but still, I think it's
Yeah.
also like helpful for like
Oh, you're right.
terrifying.
I did not bring a single Moltres before this. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Rob Moltres that game ended worked out. Moltres ended the game after I'm not gonna lie. I was
Yeah,
looking at
all
your team,
I
Kush, and I was like, this feels very slow compared to some of the other stuff that you've brought. Like, I couldn't really look at it
yeah,
and say,
that's
okay,
true.
here's
It is very different from what I brought before.
yeah. And I don't know if that was like a conscious
I
decision, like
just
you trying to, counter prep. Like maybe if you had a self scout and you were trying to counter prep that, but it was very interesting to kind of just see a much slower paced, kind of methodical team out of kind of.
yeah, I just did have some idea of what I wanted to use. I wanted something that was very resilient to stems and bulky
Okay.
setup sweepers. So that's why I went with Toxic Arc Balloon, Reuniclus, Haze, and Polium. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean for sure makes sense. Um, And yeah, honestly, a little surprised from again the bull and the Flygon, kind of interesting picks from Umbree's side, but just in general, I thought Umbree's team uh, was kind of a little bit of a step away from kind of the stuff that she's been bringing thus far in the tournament. I don't know if that was like intentional too, perhaps a South Scout change up, but yeah, interesting stuff from both sides, I think.
Umbree's team is pretty interesting, but I do think it's really just praying for no Slowbro. Slowbro blanking like 4 of the Pokemon is not great.
I
I
think
mean, yeah,
it's
but that's kind of just how prepping is. They could just like look at the scout and like you build a team
Yeah,
that's good
obviously
into it,
sometimes like
and
you
that's
can't
it.
cover everything in this tier.
I mean, it's not about covering everything. Sometimes you just like kind of have to fish in the builder to win games, and that's what happened. It didn't work out, but like sometimes
I
you just
wouldn't
like need to
say
take risk in
that
the builder,
for
and you can't
sure.
just always like build teams that cover everything. And I think she did kind of like have an out against Slowbro, but it was
Yeah,
mainly like just like clicking toxic with Glowbro and figuring out like, what to do from there. Oh, Curse left.
yeah. I'm just
Yeah.
thinking of T-Wave Slowbro, and I don't see how Umbra even ever kills it.
Hmm.
I mean,
But
it's just like
Just
not
Slowbro.
really a threat because you have
it didn't come,
Glowbro,
so it didn't
and Glowbro
matter.
can just fix.
oh, my net is good for a second. Sorry.
You're
No
good.
problem. But yeah, I agree. Slower is annoying for a team like that, mostly when you're like two breakers, or I can't even say two breakers. Your one breaker is water fighting Tauros Bull, but it's not like there's no counterplay versus that team. I mean, you can certainly kind of finagle your way around it, but such as Bonds, such as Scarlet Violet are you? Um, yeah. Okay. Any more comments on that? Kush, Gum, LBM, Umbri versus Kush.
No, but I do hope that we get to see the rematch.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit when we get to tie breaks. And scheduling issues perhaps, but yeah. So that was Umbry Kush, and at this point, I think the Crunch Wraps have rallied back, right? So they're up 3-2, and then who played next? Was it Gondra game next?
Yep, Gondra
So
was
it
next.
was, then it was
Yeah.
Yay, and then it was Lily.
Yes. Okay.
Now, I got some choice words for this game.
Well,
For
Gondra versus
most of this
Denial.
game, yeah. For most
Okay.
of this game, Denial was getting dog walked really badly.
Okay, that is also just wait. No. That is just
I
strictly
think the
untrue.
matchup was just
This is strictly
bad.
untrue. Denial was playing
I
a
think Denial
fantastic.
played well.
Yeah, Denial was playing a
Yeah, she just like
very
didn't
good game.
have like
No, what I'm saying is for a lot of the game they were just getting called out. And then when the Registeel died, they stayed in with Delmise for on the Glalie for honestly, I don't even know why. But realistically, this game should not have been as close as it was. This game should have been way uglier in favor
Yeah,
of
no,
Gondra.
listen. I think Gondra did, in fact, have like a very good matchup. And that put Denial in a position where they really had to, kind of play from the back. But that's exactly what they did. And they got very uh, good chances in the game. For example, like there's a turn earlier on. I think it's Delmise in versus uh, who was it? It was Delmise in versus something that had to switch out, and Delmise pulled a double instead of attacking into a very Delmise weak team. I think it was like a Houndoom that came in, and Delmise had the opportunity to get like half on it or something, and it just like switched out into something. It was, I don't know. Again, Gondra had a lot of like kind of leeway to kind of play with it, which is good on them, right? I mean, that's a win in builder when you come in and your team is firing on all cylinders and is matching up well versus the op. But Denial, I mean, there was a situation there where I think they got their Mega Glalie in on like a less than 0.5% Metagross and then just fired off like 4 attacks in a row and punched holes through like half of Gondra's team. Um, just stuff like that, though. I mean, Denial was playing from the back, and I think really kind of kept themselves competitive in a game which should not have been competitive. Kush or Gum, I don't know if either of y'all kind of think that too, but at least for me, that was how I saw this game playing out.
See, the Delmise catching the Registeel on an anchor shot was obviously very bad for Denial. But I don't think they should have stayed in with Delmise. I think the Incineroar should have been sent packing. Because that opened up Virizion a lot. take the Dhelmise out of the picture, and Virizion kind of just devours what Gondra has. I don't think the payoff for staying in was worth whatever Incineroar was bringing to the table at 31% with no Figgy Berry. That is what made Gondra very, very close to losing the game. Obviously, they won, so it worked out in the end, but I can't pretend like Dhelmise staying in was not objectively a misplay in that sense.
Well,
I
such
think
is
he
life.
mainly messed up. Which turn was it? It was on turn 68, where he clicks Slack off on the Metagross as it switches in. I feel like all he had to do there was click Scald, because if he stays in with the Flygon dies. If he goes to Metagross, it gets chipped for like, how much was Scald doing? 23 at least, and then he
Not a
can
ton.
click the Fire move instead of Dark Pulse.
I think Dark Pulse was a bit better than the Fire move just because of flinch chances.
Either way, the
And
fire move was not killing
depending on
there
Fire
because
move.
it was Flame on the Houndoom instead of like Fire Blast or Overheat or something. So I think
Oh right, yeah, I forgot
Yeah, Dark
they made
Pulse
it
was
Flamethrower instead of
very poor.
Fire Blast for some reason.
had it
And
been
it gives
Fire
extra
Blast,
RNG.
I probably would have agreed there. But yeah, no, I mean you kind of just had to go for the Dark Pulse flinch there. Yeah.
Well, I think it was possible with Sleep Talk rolls.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
I
I mean
think between
you needed to hit the
yeah,
Earthquake. If you didn't hit the
And I think
Earthquake,
it's
the game
possible,
was
but this is the game we play.
yeah.
The immediate boost on the Xatu was also fairly unfortunate. I don't think it mattered a huge amount, but Xatu having to die pretty much immediately from a first try Meteor Mash boost on a helmet Xatu was very, very rough.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the Satu gonna do?
Nightshade with helmet just chips Metagross down.
Was it not Heat Wave?
Yeah,
I
it
always
was
thought Heat Wave
Yeah,
from
but
it.
like
yes,
it's
it was
fast.
rest talk, but it would need to get boosts
You could just
later to actually pull something off, and I feel like Gondra would have switched
yeah,
out by
but
then.
yeah, but then like you just don't achieve anything.
Say that again?
Like you can't really risk. Like you just don't achieve anything. You always gonna have to like trade or like you have to like kind of sack something to get in like Houndoom to like force Metagross out. Or you have to like get like you have to like predict the rest, and if you don't, you're kind of like in a bad position anyway. I don't think it mattered all that much because it's like you're gonna always force into staying in with Satu until it dies anyway.
The way I see
Yeah.
it,
Like really don't want to
like
risk Houndoom.
I'm looking at it right now, and it's like with the helmet plus Nightshade spam plus the chances to miss, Xatu could have forced Metagross to rest far earlier, which would have been at least useful information. Because if the Xatu didn't get hit with a frame 1 boost, it would have just been able to spam Roost with helmet. Obviously, that's just inviting a boost later, but with that, you'd get more chip on Metagross.
Yeah, okay, we're getting into
Yeah,
like
but that
high
doesn't
Pokemon
it
now, so
matters element.
this is like whatever, sure. I mean, Metagross got the boost turn one. It is what it is. It happened.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even
Strictly
something that
speaking, I
I
think
don't think really significantly altered the game either. Like, yes,
it didn't,
perhaps you
but
could have scouted rest earlier, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, that end game still kind of plays out the same way it does. You kind of just have to get your sleep talk rules right, and that it it is what it is, you know.
yeah.
All right. So yeah, that was Gondra denial. Gondra kind of turned it around in what turned out to be a nail biter, and tied it up again. And then we kind of have the
Yeah,
last two
but
sets of the series with Oras first, and then ending with Lily versus HJK. The Oras set I thought was quite interesting.
Ass. No,
Yeah,
it wasn't interesting. It was just ass, just straight ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Oras game was interesting.
I do not want to relive this game. Absolutely not.
I think
Yeah, it's
we messed up by not thinking knockoff.
on the Sigilif turn, absolutely.
Like from there, like we just lost.
Because CL was playing
And from
actually
there,
quite a
just
strong game.
was over.
I thought CL was playing
Yeah, he was.
with the double status Registeel. I thought it was he was doing quite a good job. He got a couple very key turns early, getting a Toxic off on a Seismitoad, switching hard into Registeel, which is like okay.
Yeah, I think the game just like kind of ended there.
Yeah. The
But then you
Seismitoad
have
getting cobbled.
But then you have the
Continue.
Sneasel turn, obviously, right? Where it's Sneasel in on Sigilif. Sigilif's at like 80% or something. You Pursuit, don't kill, die Heat Wave.
I haven't
If that's
felt, I don't know if that's a role.
I mean, it
I
lived
think
at
it
like
I
was.
think it was
4%.
a roll, but like it was like a 30% roll, and I think that like for that reason, just always click knockoff.
Yeah.
Oh
Just
yeah,
like
for sure.
for
The
Yay, it's
worst
like
thing that
if you
happens
just
there, right, is
it
Allo
doesn't
comes
matter.
in and Allo loses its leftovers. But that still puts you in a
Yeah.
pretty commanding position with Sigilif kind of chipped.
Yeah.
And you still have Sneasel, which is the most important thing.
Ja, ik kan zo wel nog gewoon een aflevering kijken. Wat is zo?
Yeah.
Ik denk over een tiertje of zo.
The pursuit play was
Was
just
leuk?
the pursuit play was just not good. It's been said already, so I'm not gonna go that much into it, but the two main progress makers on Kushalos' team is Gallade and Sneasel, and Gallade was already sent to 19%. Risking Sneasel like that on what I imagine was just a turn they didn't end up actually calking.
I think
And
the worst turn is just straight up turn 10. Turn
Okay.
11, where he switched out of the Jellicent when he had a Seismitoad behind the sub.
Oh, that was also crazy. I was like, bro,
That
why
was
don't this
so bad.
I
I was
get it.
actually screaming, like, what the fuck are you doing? Because all you had to do was Earthquake into the Jellicent to get it to 60%. And as soon as it's at 60%, you just Ice Punch fish. And if you get a single freeze, the game is over right there.
Yeah, because that
I
Jellicent,
think
it
they
turned out, was
wanted
like
to-
hard walled, I think, too, by Seismitoad, right? It was like Recover, Scald, Will-O-Wisp. Was it Taunt last, I think?
Yes.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Toxic on the Seismitoad was a pretty good call. The double status Registeel, I probably would have done the exact same play after seeing
Yeah, I
T-Wave.
mean, it was a Sigilif in, right? So it's like kind of a low risk play. I mean, if Sigilif hits you with like a Psychic, sure. On that type of team, I think it was like a fatter Sigilif, something like that, right? So, kind of a somewhat lower risk play, just toxicing there. And,
But this is probably I don't know how else to say it besides the pursuit was a throw in the most brutal sense possible.
well, again, it's not a throw, right? Because the pursuit could kill the Sigilif, and if Sigilif dies, then the game ends right there. Like, there's no real
Yes,
way
banking on
for
a
Ye to
30%
do
chance when
anything.
you have no reason to, and then losing for not getting it is a throw. There's just no way to sugarcoat that.
Well, again, if you
The rest of
switch
the
into
the rest
Aloe
of the
Mama,
game was
it's like,
played fine.
again,
The
it's a
rest of the game was
reasonable
played
play. It's a
fine.
reasonable play that did not work out because of greed. So, yeah, I guess you want to call that a throw, sure. But it's not like Pursuit didn't have the chance to knock out. Like, I think CL was just kind of going for that. Plus, I think this is, I don't know if he's being facetious about this, but he told me before the game this was like his second or third ORAS game, like ever. So that was also kind of
It
funny.
did show because he toxic into a Seismitoad
Yeah.
when it was up against the Reggie.
To be
Well,
fair,
that was Ye. That was Ye who switched in the Seismitoad.
No,
Well,
I mean earlier
the Seismitoad.
when it's
Oh,
up.
when he switched out, yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, if I'd never played ORAS before, I wouldn't know that basically anything that can run Substitute could run Substitute. Especially
they
not
do.
sub power up punch Seismitoad.
Anything that has base 100 HP and can substitute will substitute.
Yeah.
Trust me. Well, except Jellison. That's beside the matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Seismitoad was a very good bring, but well, we know what happened to that thing. It still put in work. But yeah, there's not much else to really say about the game.
Sure. Anyway, that was Yay and CL, which put the Crunchwraps up 4-3. And then going into the final game, it's Lily versus HJK. And this was kind of a game that we really wrote off, I think, last week in terms of the predictions. We really had a lot of kind of faith in HJK. And by we, I mean like me and the people who are making predicts, so not Gum or Kush. But yeah, we thought HJK kind of has had a very strong run in the tour. Has shown a lot of kind of growth in terms of his team development, his team selection, and his in game has remained like pretty solid. And yeah, I mean, Lily pulled the big upset here. And Kush, you know, we talked about this a little bit during the game too, but there were, you know, kind of some reservations you had about HJK's team, which ended up coming kind of to life in this Lily versus HJK set. Specifically, issues with kind of floating Terra Steel Mons. So I want to talk a little bit about that, I guess. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but that was not my reservation. That was like a general reservation that someone brought up.
Yeah.
Who was it? I actually don't remember who it was.
But I think this game was interesting. When I saw HJK defog into a hard Zapdos, I was like, oh, bro, what are you doing? No.
I mean, that
And
was
then they
kind of
Oh
like
yeah, that was bad.
the shenanigans they were doing, right? It was like Hippowdon staring at a conk, and eventually, you know, Lily pulled the trigger, was like, okay, Captus. And HJK was like, all right, well, what am I sacking? Yeah, it was a good play by Lily.
Yeah.
I
I
don't really,
definitely
yeah.
question the sending Noivern away. I understand why, but for those that don't know, it was actually Throat Spray Noivern with Boom Burst.
Yeah, it gets fucked up. I am totally.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but there are a
That's
decent
the
amount of
main
tools for
thing.
Empoleon.
That's the main thing about it.
Yeah. It was useful, I suppose. Being faster than Mousehold is certainly nice. Although the Crook was Scarf, so that's also something.
I mean, Lily brought a pretty
But
interesting team in and of itself. We had a couple uh, kind of mons you don't really see very often, specifically the Rotom Cut. And Gum, I know I've seen you kind of talking back and forth with Cyan a little bit in the Discord recently about kind of just the validity of Rotom Cut, how relevant it is in the meta. So yeah, I mean, what were kind of the ideas coming into this week? Why the Rotom Cut ring?
I don't know. I mean, Lily just told me she wanted to like use because I built a team at first and like she didn't like it, so like I just told her to like give me a Pokemon. She just said I want to use like most hold, so I was like okay, sure, and I just built that 6. I don't think it was like much of an idea behind Motom. I just was like I thought it would like pair like well in most hold,
Yeah,
and
well,
so
it paid
yeah, and
off.
I
Like
mean
it
it
paid
did
off big
work out
time. You
well.
know, Terra Steel,
Yeah,
Terra Steel Motom has kind of had a history in RU, as does most levitating guys this gen. Being able to Terra Steel as a levitator makes you like hard wall stuff like, you know, certain Salamences. Perhaps Revavroom is the big guy who a lot of people have kind of teched in the past for. Uh, but yeah, in this case, it was an Amoonguss actually that Rotom was able to kind of just set up on and, you know, kind of claim a kill versus. So yeah, very cool stuff. Very cool stuff.
yeah, I definitely
It
like
was
Lily's
pretty
team.
unfortunate. Because all we had to do was get in Empoleon at some point on the Rotom, where it doesn't take 90 from Leaf Storm. And it was Terra Grass actually. Terra Grass with Haze.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
I
that would have saved
question
you.
why the
That would have saved you.
Empoleon. I question why the Empoleon was sacked, but not the Amoonguss. But
But it wasn't a sec. I think HTK was expecting Lily to go all the way up to +6.
I mean, yes, but
Um,
then what? Well, Terragrass Haze. Okay.
yeah,
I mean
But
I
yeah.
don't
It,
even
it,
think that
it
was
takes
true
any
though, because like she clicked discharge the turn before.
Yeah, that's the part
Like
that
I
made
think
me
it was like
confused
her
because it's
clear
like
that
you
she
just saw her.
Yeah.
attack the Amoongus. Like, if you had wanted to go for the commit 6 play, you would have thought you would just, done it after one
They
nasty
should
pot,
do
right?
like right.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, personally, I would have just let the Amoongus go. It does not do very well. However, then we get to the end game, and Amoongus is poised to win if the Rotom dies. And I'll be honest, this is probably the worst play of the entire week. Lily stayed in with Rotom on Mach.
I'm pretty sure Mach, never had a chance to kill that. I
It
think
was
I
a
checked.
60%. I think it was like a 60% chance to
No,
kill. It
we
was
don't
Iron
know
Fist.
our spread. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was Iron Fist
Right,
Kong.
you don't know our spread though.
Was it
Let's
Iron
whip
Fist
out the
Kong?
damage.
Maybe
Yes,
it
it
was.
was Iron.
Maybe it was a roll then?
I
I don't know.
mean, even if you do know the spread, it can crit. I don't know
That's
if I
true.
will first
I
crit.
don't think. Yeah, that's why I
Most of
disagree with
this,
the play because it's like
I'm not going to
can go
ask for the
crit and
spread
everything.
in hindsight, but to just put into perspective the general damage that you would expect, Max Rotom has a chance would live with like 6%. Max Bold, which odds are I don't think you had that much investment on the Rotom.
Can I be honest? I just don't believe that you guys were Iron Fist because everyone that posted calcs like from your team posted with guts. And even like Kush earlier said that like Hideki was making fun of Iron Fist. Iron Fist controller. So
See,
it's
but
like
here's the thing.
why would he use it himself?
More than my thing is one, they drain punched the Hippowdon on multiple sides, so the information would have already been revealed that it was Iron Fist. Two, even without that, a crit to
It wasn't
not
nothing.
going Hippowdon was a throw because of, again, a crit.
No,
I
But
don't think
that's a
it
throw.
was
That's a
not
throw.
exactly a throw. It was just more risk.
Yeah, I think it was just an
Yeah, I think
unnecessary.
it was just not the
Yes, you are
optimal.
correct.
Yeah,
If the Rotom died there or got crit or something, risked it, the game was over. Because I think Amoongus comes in and just falls. But
yeah, it 1v1s everything.
it did not happen that way. So, yeah. I
Yeah,
honestly thought during the thing, you can see this in live too whenever that goes up. But I thought Amoongus had still won, but then I realized Rotom could just switch out and reset the special attack boosts, and I was like, okay, fine, yeah, the game is over. But yeah, I mean that Amoongus set was interesting, but in and of itself, because I think it was what Giga Drain, Sludge Bomb. I think Synth. It had the recovery move.
it was
Um,
Toxic, Stomping Tantrum, Giga Drain, Synth, no Sludge.
yeah, you don't really see Synth a lot. But also
Yeah,
no status move either. Without
it had
Toxic.
Toxic.
Yeah, that's
It was
toxic.
Toxic.
toxic. Apologies. No stuns for it. No stuns for it. That's what I meant. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
interesting set.
I've
Stomping
mentioned
Tantrum and Amoongus.
trepidations with the Amoongus set in the chat, but after testing with it, it was pretty good. So
Yeah.
I reserved my gripes. But yeah,
Yeah, the
I've
big
already
thing
mentioned my thoughts on staying in, besides the
HJK
fact that
HJK talked to me about that Noivern spread with the throat spray thing before. I think we might have even run a couple tests together, and I was like, bro, I don't know how much I believe in this Noivern. And he's like, no, 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 no. Listen. It'll cook. It'll cook. It'll cook. And then I saw him stack it, and I was like, oh man. Yeah, it,
unfortunately rolled
it
into
it
Empoleon.
did something. It did something, I guess. But yeah, that was fun. That was kind of funny. It would
Yeah,
have been cool to see it get the throw spray off at the very least, though. That would have been neat.
but I think the game was interesting. I think Lily probably did deserve to win outside of the Rotom turn.
I mean, Lily really stepped up. I
Yeah,
mean, this is a must-win situation, right? So your team is down
yeah,
3-4. You're playing for the tie. So it's high pressure, and Lily stood up and delivered. Really interesting picks, and yeah, worked out well. Which leads us into where we find ourselves now with the finals tiebreak, which is a very different finals tiebreak than we saw before in the semifinals, right? So in the semifinals, I think it was Scarlet Violet, and Sun Moon. If I'm no Oras, right? Kush, what was
it's
it?
SBS Black White.
I'm talking about the semifinals. In the semifinals, I think it was Oras or Sun Moon as part of tie breaks. I don't remember.
oh yeah, it
I
was
I
Oras.
think it was the second SV. and
It was,
something else. I
yeah, it
don't
was Scarlet
remember.
Violet with Scarlet Violet,
It
and it
was I
was
don't
Oras. Yeah. So, I mean, that's interesting because now we see a very different kind of lineup with both teams having. Well, okay. Well, one of the teams wasn't involved in that, but two different tiers coming up now, in Scarlet Violet, Sword and Shield, and Black and White. So, um, I'm kind of, yeah, I'm interested specifically to hear from the Crunch Wraps on why Black White is coming out. But Gum, I can ask you first. So Sword Shield Attribute has had a fantastic season. Won, or I'm thinking he's clinched best Sword Shield. Well, he already clinched best Sword Shield record. But yeah, I mean,
I
kind of,
think
what were
he's
your thoughts
7-2
about this?
now.
Yeah. So what were your thoughts, kind of just picking
I
Sword
think
Shield?
as
Like, was this always going to be the pick, or was there even a conversation about something else being the tiebreak tier?
we no, it was always going to be the pick. Yeah. I think when we were like, I think when it was we were down 3-4, and I just like we talked to manager channel, and then I asked Attribute if he wanted to play, and he was like, yeah, sure. So just kind of, I don't think we had another pick really.
Yeah,
Like
I
I
mean, it
could have
makes sense.
considered
Again,
maybe
Attribute
double
has had
SV, but even then,
another SV slot.
yeah. But
That's
even then,
interesting.
I think it would. I think the like SS is better for us than double SV.
Yeah,
Because
I
even
mean,
like if our SV has been doing like really well, I do think like the Crunch Wraps have a really strong SV too,
yeah,
and so I think it becomes closer.
yeah. I mean, I'd certainly agree with the Sword Shield pick. I think, again, Attribute the strongest Sword and Shield record in the tournament. So, I mean, you can't knock that. Not to mention his kind of strong showing this week with kind of that Reuniclus we talked about opening the week very strong for the Noble Guardians. So that makes a lot of sense. Having men slotted in there too in the Sword Shield, the best of three player kind of coming up to match up with Attribute Kush. No Fogbound Lake in the slot. It's interesting.
No,
Kind of, what's the
no.
logic behind
Uh, because Mens will actually talk to us. I think
that?
that's the logic behind this.
I think you just don't want to bench Mans in a tiebreak because it's like your second best player. That you just like you want to have him in,
I mean, on
but also like
paper,
plays
if
SS.
this was on official tour, then he will be like our best player. So he's just
Yeah,
not in the tiebreaker.
I think he's just like the type of player like you always want in a tiebreak.
Yeah, cool.
Same as
Makes sense.
same as Funny. Even if Funny will be
Yeah, that's the
like
thing.
I don't know, if he was 3-6, he would still be playing in the tiebreaker probably.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we have him in black and white.
Yeah, and that's interesting too. Now that we can kind of actually just move into that. So black and white. First of all, Kush. Why?
I told you I didn't have a say in this. I was not consulted at all.
Yeah, I mean, black and white is I think for a lot of the people, kind of the spectators and people who have kind of been on here talking about this, black white is one of the more volatile tiers that we kind of just have in our UPL as a whole. Um, and to see this kind of in the tiebreak is a really bold move, I think, from the Contrast Supreme Overlord Juniors. Ninja Dog has been having a stupendous season, very strong performance, and also obviously came away with the win in the finals itself. But now he's going up against Bunny, which is I think, well, one, the Noble Guardian's best of three player. But again, like we just mentioned, like a guy who's kind of built for these types of situations, even if he hasn't had the greatest season, which I think he's even at this point. I think Punny's record is even at this point, right? Someone can like correct me.
No, I think he's 3-4.
He's 3-4. Okay. Well, he could. Okay,
Yeah,
this is his chance to even it up. Um, but yeah, I mean, Punny, who has maybe not had the best showing thus far, and that's no indictment on him. Best of three is a strong pool, and he's still a great player. But yeah, we have him in black white, so this will be an interesting matchup. Uh, yeah, how familiar is Punny with black white? Is this like a tier that he's played a lot, tested a lot with, or
I mean, sorta. I don't think he's played a lot of black and white UU, but there's that. I don't think like black and white RU is like too similar, but like he's
No, they're
familiar
very
with the
different.
gen.
Yeah,
There's
Black
different
White.
as can
I mean,
be.
anyway, I mean they're both black and white tiers, but like he just like familiar with the gen,
Okay,
so
cool. I
there's
mean,
always that
well,
like a
he will still have, obviously, Piyush has been in a limited sample size, has still been doing pretty good in Black and White. So, I mean, he still has all the support from the Noble Guardians, which we've talked about kind of all throughout the season how their Black and White slot is pretty decently supported. So, yeah, that will be fun. And on the opposing side, obviously, we have Kush feeding Ninja Dog Kush teams. So, no question about support there. So it'll be an interesting game, interesting gaming. Um, and that kind of leads us to just the Scarlet Violet slot, which I don't think shocks a lot of people. It's the Umbri Kushalos mirror from the actual RUPL game, or yeah, from the actual finals matchup. So yeah, pretty straightforward stuff with that one. A little bit of scheduling drama though. Kush and Umbri being we do have times at this point for both attribute Men's Meat and Punny Ninja Dog. But yeah, hopefully that works out between y'all. Just finding a time
I
that works for
do
getting
I
into
do
the
hope
season.
it gets results somehow.
Yeah.
I don't mind letting HJK play either. But
Yeah.
yeah.
See,
I also want to play Umbri. So.
that's the
yeah.
interesting
That's the
thing
thing.
here.
She also wants to play you.
The
Yeah,
the
it's just
HJK
very unfortunate.
the HJK being left off of the lineup.
Yeah, actually,
Was
I
this?
thought that was kind of surprising in the first place.
Yeah, I mean,
But that's
so
but that's
here's
only because we picked black and white.
pick Black and White, right? If that was a Scarlet Violet slot, no doubt that would be HJK there. But yeah, I mean that's
Yeah,
the guy who closed out the tiebreaks and semifinals for y'all, right? If I remember
he did.
correctly, it was
He
him.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was the one who won the tiebreak. So yeah, kind of just interesting to see him not make an appearance here. But Black and White is certainly like you can't knock Ninja Dog in his performance too. So yeah, shaping up to be a great tiebreak. Personally, predicting this tiebreak, um, I'm the only person here who is not on one of these two
Yeah,
teams.
you
So
kind of invited the wrong people.
Guys,
We're all
listen,
not partial.
listen. I wanted
guys,
to
let's
get
make predicts for
I'm
your
gonna
team.
smoke the
I
Guardians. I
wanted to get
swear
your
to God.
viewpoints on the actual week. Okay, so this will be Ming's vibes based predictions here. Last week, off vibes alone, I picked Umbri versus Kush in the finals. So this week, off the flippage of those vibes, I'm gonna pick Kush. I think. Um, I'll pick Attribute versus Men's Meat. I'm taking Attribute. Like again, he's been having a stupendous season. Has brought back a couple like unfavorable matchups, especially I think that finals performance was very impressive to me. And Men's Meat, while a great player, and has been playing Sword Shield notably since he's been in the best of three slot. I feel like Attribute, I still just lean a little bit more towards him. Why did y'all have to make me pick Black White Gaming in tie breaks, bro? Why why is this the tier that I have to pick versus? Uh, yeah, I have no clue. Let's go Ninja Dog. I've been singing Ninja Dog's praises all season. Like, I will keep it consistent. I think he's one of the like kind of better black white players we've seen come out of this season. I don't know if he's been like a known name in the community before, but certainly now people are going to look at him and be like, okay. I mean,
Yeah,
this
I
guy's
actually
He's always been a black
didn't
white
know
player.
he played black and white before. But I haven't played this tour since I don't know. I think the last time was 2020, so a lot of things can change in that time.
it's been 4 years since you played this tour.
Yeah, I was kind of done with all the C teaming of my favorite teams in ORS.
Ah, okay. I didn't realize you had been away from the community for so long. Great to have you back. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
I
I'm
was
picking.
more invested in NU for a while.
But yeah, I'm picking Ninja Dog. Again, got to keep it consistent. He's been very impressive to me. And Punny, while having a pretty decent season, has kind of, you know, been a little lackluster lately. Playoffs specifically, we're looking at Noble Guardians versus Crunchwraps dropped this week. In the semifinals, dropped it versus Franklin of the Technicians, which, no shame in that, but you kind of see the trend, and at this point, I think I would be more comfortable with Ninja Dog and how, just the consistency over everything. So, yeah. And that would put Crunchwraps as winners of RUPL. So, predictions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you won't be getting any more predictions from this call because all three of us are extremely biased.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I didn't expect y'all to predict it. I mean, I'd assume all of y'all would just pick 3-0s in the favor of your team, as you probably should. So yeah,
Denial's not spotted, so I can't bet against them.
That is that in terms of kind of RU recaps and predictions. So that this will actually be the final set of recaps and predictions. Next week, however this pans out, we will have the final set of recaps for the kind of winners of RUPL. But yeah, it's been a great ride. Thank you to all my kind of co-commentators for being here today, providing your valuable insights on like the games, and then like kind of just stuff about tiebreaks too that I found very interesting at least. So yeah, thank y'all for that. Are there any final comments you want to kind of leave the people with before we head out?
Just like go Guardians.
Yeah, I was waiting on that one, Gun. Kush, LBN?
I got nothing else to add.
All right.
Yeah, I'm good as well.
Yeah, very good. Well, yeah. Good luck to both teams in tiebreaks. It'll be a great time, no matter how this kind of pans out. I think this has been a great RUPL. So thank all of y'all for.
It's been a really good tour, like one of the best lower tier PLs I've been a part of.
That's a huge W, and you have played a billion tours, so that is a huge W. Yeah. Thank y'all for joining me. Thank all of you people who are watching, listening, whatever, for kind of tuning in. Make sure to like, and subscribe. And yeah, we made it to the end. Great job, team. You're all so beautiful and gorgeous. From your lovely tournament host, Cable Eye. With that being said, peace.